Hello and welcome back to the second part of the Autism Awareness course. We're going to talk now briefly about how you can actually apply the knowledge that you've learned about what autism is and how a person with autism experiences the world around them, and look at how you can now support a person living with autism in your role. So the first thing that the service that I coordinate tries to focus on is planning. So planning and being prepared. So it's really important that you have learnt as much as you can about your own service and what you deliver in relation to autism, so that you think about what it is that you do and how you can make sure you're autism aware and that you are supporting the individuals with autism. Because as I've said, this training is a generalisation training. You need to apply this to your specific role. So some examples could be the service has a communication top tips poster, so you could download that and carry that with you, or have that in your office for your colleagues and yourself, so that you can be reminded of some top tips for communicating with a person with autism. You can have a meltdown plan, so how can a person leave your office quickly and safely if they need to leave, so develop a plan like that. You can also have some things like this developed, so you can get these from us, so you can have something like an autism box. You can have some emotion cards, so if somebody is going through a shutdown, they can show you how they're feeling, and you can have cards that say as well, I need a break, I need to go, I need to sit in the safe space. So think about what visual resources you can develop. You can also have some sensory objects, so we've got stress balls and fidget spinners, so you could carry these in a little pack with you, so that while you're doing your care or you're working with a person, they can have something as a distraction, maybe to make themselves feel more comfortable. Obviously, you'll receive your lanyard, so the person knows that you're going to be a bit more aware of how they feel. If you're having people coming into your service, you can have available on your website, or something you post out to them, sort of a guide to your building, so they know where to come in, they know where a safe space is they can take themselves to, or they know how to exit quickly, so they can prepare themselves in advance for going to your premises. You can have a step-by-step guide developed as well for what service you deliver, so they know what is happening one after another in all the steps. You can provide written up a next step, so who they're going to speak to next, what happens next, or written confirmation of what you've done. That's something our service delivers, is that we email out to all clients what we have done for them or what they need to do next themselves, so it's very clear. They don't need to worry about remembering any of the information then, or writing it down as we speak. They get it nice and clearly written out in writing for them to follow and tick off at their own pace. It's also important that if you are a caregiver, for example, maybe you can have a little introduction card to yourself, a poster with a photograph of yourself on your name, some likes and dislikes about you, and bits of information that they can learn and prepare for who you are and for getting to know you. And then if the care is going to change, so if you know you're going on holiday, or if you know you're leaving this role, again, maybe have one of those made for the next person who's taking over, and prepare a person for this bit of change. So I think really try and think, I'm hesitant to say it, but think outside the box and think of everything that you can have made in advance to support a person, so that every stage of your care is really clear. Be person-centred is the next thing. You need to follow the individual's lead with what they require. So get to know them, get to know what sensory experiences trigger them, have a read through any documentation they can give you. So for example, they can download an autism passport from us and we can fill that in. Let them know that they decide the pace of the work and that they can break whenever they need to. And so focus on that individual. If you are giving care to the body, you could produce in advance a body map and work through them with that, what areas are triggers to them. If you have to touch areas of their body that are a trigger to them, so for example the shoulders, maybe the back of the neck, practice how you're going to do that. Role play through it. Maybe show on yourself what you're going to do. Ask them what level of touch is good for them, firm or soft, and prepare them for what care you're going to have to do. Okay, so you need to have them ready. Role play it, like I say, and discuss what sort of touch and things are good for them. Please do not assume that you can just touch a person's body the same as you're happy to be touched, because that's not the case. So I think having a body map and discussing touch is really key. And like I've said, role playing it is a really useful one that you can do, and saying, right, this session today we're going to talk about it, next session we're going to going to do the care, and so on and so on. So I think mapping it out is really useful, and making sure everybody's aware of what happens next and what's gonna each person's going to go through. We actually recommend this for example, when getting on a plane with a family member who has autism, maybe act out and role play going through airport security, so people know if you have to be touched down, this is the reason why, and this is why they will pat you down, and so on. So I think that's really important. Minimise any sensory disturbances, so have a quiet or a safe space. Consider natural lighting rather than some of the harsh office lighting you can have on. Think about what music or noise is happening in the background, so if there's music, if there's phones ringing or radios, see if they can be turned off or turned down. Try not to have your safe space, for example, situated near a toilet or a kitchen that could have strong smells or a high volume of people going through it. So think about your building and where is best to place things. And also, if you're going to a person, ask them what room in their home or in their environment is best for any care for you to deliver. So there might be places where they feel safer. Again, with creating a safe environment, you can develop an autism box like was suggested, so having some sensory materials in there, various different types of communication devices available, and particularly ones of different levels pitched at different people. As we've already said, autism is not a learning disability, so please do not pitch everything at a level of somebody with a learning disability, but have a variety of sources, so have some visual ones, some written ones, so therefore anybody with a variety of needs can get the communication they need and get across what support they require. In terms of language, we've talked a little bit about this, but be very clear, direct and explicit in your instructions, and use realistic examples that are based in the setting that you're talking about. Don't give examples from other areas, give examples specifically in your setting and that are realistic. And like I say, be very clear and plain. There's no need to use sort of childish language or language aimed at younger people, but you need to have the language that needs to be really nice and clear and plain and explicit. And again, if you're writing anything down, write it step by step, or this will happen then, this will happen after, and so on. Focus on timing and attention. If your appointment's going to be a 30-minute appointment, try and make it 30 minutes, and be really specific in what you're explaining. Provide structure and predictability and keep to your word. If you arrange to call somebody at 10 in the morning, please phone them at 10 in the morning. If you say, I'm your new carer and will be for the foreseeable future, and you're not, don't say it. You need to be this clear source of predictability and structure for this person. So please, if anything, obviously change does happen, but try and mitigate that change. So if you know, like we've said earlier, if you know you're moving on from a role, prepare for that person. Think what clients or patients you have with autism and prepare them for a change of staff or a change of building if your service is moving elsewhere, and so on. So do think about these people. As we've said, break down anything abstract into concrete examples, and very much foster an environment of self-awareness, self-esteem and self-empowerment. Our website has got lots of resources that people can use to request things off their own back, or that they can be empowered to do things themselves. So do direct them to our website. So for example, like I said about the reasonable adjustments letter, direct them to complete that if they need it, and that they've got the power to request the things that they need to support themselves. You can also recommend a few personal strategies. So if you've got a person who is quite active out in the community and it wants to sort of do more things, or that they're quite self-aware and quite empowered, but they're struggling with certain little aspects, there's a few strategies you can recommend that they can try and implement. So for example, developing a daily or weekly routine. If they make each night of the week a set night to do something, that can help somebody then get out and about because they know exactly what they're doing every night of the week. So it could be Monday night is food shopping night, Tuesday night is visiting family, and so on. And that can give them this nice structure that then actually they can go out in the community and not feel as anxious or stressed about it. A person can make their own visual support, so you can make them with them, so they can make sure they've got their food shopping list written every week. They can draw out maps of places they need to visit, or they can download maps if they've got to go to the hospital for the first time. You can work with them and download a map to the hospital so they know where they're going. So just planning these visual supports for anything new that they're going on. If they're planning to go on a holiday for the first time, work out exactly where in the town or city they're visiting, where the things are, so they can sort of visually explore the town before they go there. Use directional statements. So sometimes a person can cope with their anxiety if they say, well, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, and so on. So treat it again step by step. If I want to do Y, I need to do X first, and so on. Carry their own sensory equipment. You can arrange for a person to either contact us and we can direct them, or you could order it on their behalf. That if they say, for example, their main struggle in the supermarket is the lighting, arrange for them to try out tinted glasses so that they've got something to protect their eyes, or ear defenders. There's lots of resources out there that a person can have a go with, and if that makes a difference for them, that can reduce the anxiety of going out in the community. As I've talked about earlier, role-playing new experiences is good for anybody, whether neurodiverse or neurotypical, because it allows them to practice and get used to something. And I think role-playing can be a really powerful and positive tool. They can balance out stresses of everyday activities with their enjoyment in a specific interest. So if a person can manage with work but finds it stressful, they know that once they've made it through the day, they could devote their evening to a really positive activity. And then reminding a person that they can have regular breaks and respite, and that actually can be part of their reasonable adjustments. And again, moving on to the final point, being open about their needs and requesting the support and reasonable adjustments they are entitled to. So again, you can utilise, we've got a lovely letter on our website that states the law and helps you map out what reasonable adjustments you may require, and that can be presented to an employer or a lecturer at a university or college, and that can state that maybe a person needs breaks every hour or so on, whatever reasonable adjustments their autism requires. So we can support in that matter, and you can use that in your support with that person. So I just want to thank you for listening today, and to remind you to let your line manager know that you've completed this course. I hope that you are now more aware of what autism is, how it is a neurodevelopment condition, and how you need to really think about adapting your practices, whether that's caring or you're a service deliverer, to a person with autism, and just to try and mitigate any stresses or anxieties that they may experience, and just be prepared. Please feel free to get in touch with our service. There's multiple ways you can do that. We have a helpline, which is 01332 228 790, or you can email myself or the community engagement worker on autismservice@citizensadvicemidmercia.org.uk, or visit our website for much more on www.autisminformationservice.org.uk. Thank you very much.